Just before this episode, I want to tell you about another adventurous audio podcast series. Inside Forensic Science is back with an utterly intriguing historic murder mystery.
Westminster Gazette, August 31st. Sensational mystery in Scotland. Suspicious death of an English lieutenant.
A young man is dead.
And from my examination, I had no doubt that it was a gunshot wound.
So is it murder or a tragic accident?
The thing that worries me is that this poor guy was shot in the back of the head.
And why would anyone want him dead in the first place?
Didn't take too long to assess that there's absolutely something rotten in the state of Denmark.
Mishandled evidence, a chaotic crime scene, fraud, suspects who vanish into thin air.
We've got one witness who's actually washed the blood from the deceased.
This case has it all. Inside Forensic Science, the Ard Lamont Mystery, a podcast from the Leverhulme Research Centre for Forensic Science at the University of Dundee. Coming soon to wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, it's Ali here, salon director from the Head Gardener in Inverness. Talking about cancer is never easy, but unless we're open and honest about it, how can we learn from each other and, most importantly, support each other? Personally, I love this podcast. Every so often there'll be a little nugget that will just smack you in the face and you just think, whoa, right, that resonates. I think Pennie is an amazing storyteller. She's utterly honest and yes, sweary, but cancer makes you a bit sweary. I'm really proud to be the sponsor of Lump and I hope you get as much from it as I do. But don't forget to like it, rate it and share it. And over to Pennie.
Bruised. In a landscape that offers up no end of breathtaking days, today is a jewel in the crown. I walk down to the loch side, standing to squint as the sunlight catches on the snow-covered stones lining the shore. The temperature has dropped sharply over the past week, until now the air itself seems to have cooled to a pause. A single delicate cloud floats over Alduri Castle opposite. A handful of ducks bob over its perfect mirror image. I raise my camera to try and capture the scene, but I'm never quite sure if looking through a lens disconnects me somehow, renders it all second-hand. The beauty of the day sits at odds with my mood. I've used the rarity of the light as an excuse to try out my new lens, but in truth, I'm here escaping the house. Lockdown schooling has turned life into a pressure cooker. Today, I've been repeatedly scorched by the temperature of B's frustration and anger. Cancer, work, everything is parked while I dig into reserves of patience I didn't know I possessed. But I can't keep my own frustration compressed any longer. I feel this hiss of steam at my back. It's all I can do not to burst into a run. Instead, I move consciously, slowly, quietly. I linger, drawing out this walk as long as I dare in the hope that I'll be able to uncoil these curls of anxiety I'm nursing. As I sit at the loch end, delaying the moment I turn for home, my mobile rings, and an arm reaches out to gather me into a sisterly embrace. It's an arm I hardly know, but I lean in, soaking up the comfort and companionship. The sense that this friend has joined me in the trench makes me swell up with gratitude. I have a new crew of bad boob buddies to play with. I'm not sure the collective noun for breast cancer survivors, but there's so very many of us, I'm tempted to coin one. A bruise of survivors, perhaps, because we all are bruised. We're black and blue with it. Even a year on, hardly any of us are fading to green and yellow. The four of us met through a breast cancer charity course, and while the support materials offered up missed their mark with me, I found myself clinging to these women like a life raft. I'm intrigued by the instant connection that cancer has given us, a bold and brazen camaraderie, which I can't imagine happening so lightning fast were we not all sideswiped by breast cancer, or that cunty cancer, as we collectively now enjoy to call it. We're quite unapologetically sweary, our cunty cancer collective, sometimes breathtakingly so. Outrageous comments sit well alongside cancer recovery, it turns out. Each day we message each other, WhatsApping our concern, friendship and support across the length and breadth of the UK. Each day a different one of us tips off balance, a sudden collapse under the weight of what our body has carried. And every time we muster, advise, empathise and offer up simple, understated understanding. We stand in each other's shoes through knowing. So it's to my bruise of new friends that I turn when I linger on the shore, sharing how today it's my turn to sit with the black dog. And it's one of these women, Polly, who calls to listen. In the wake of social media and so much of our life now being conducted over messaging of one form or another, a call has become a much more intimate and invested gesture. That voice in your ear, the audio equivalent of gently reaching out to touch someone else's skin. It brings to mind a programme I once did about cyborgs, that curious interface between man and machine. I talked to a man who had robotic arms, asked him where he ended and the robotic began, then gently touched my hand to his carbon hand to emphasise the point. Neither of us quite knew the answer, but the intimacy of that gesture was undoubtedly human. So now Polly bridges that melding of human and smartphone to offer up her humanity as she walks me back along the shore. We trade stories of our daughters' shared ages and struggles. We unite over the precariousness of trying to guide your child through cancer recovery alongside COVID and the sheer, unadulterated weirdness of the world this past year. And by the time I reach the bottom of our track, I am unwound. I'm ready to climb back up and face B's misery, knowing that although all our paths are uniquely personal, we're not walking any of them alone. Once again, I'm surprised by the unlooked-for gifts that cancer brings, this time in the shape of these three extraordinary, bruised but beautiful women who've become woven into my world. Lump is sponsored by Ali McRitchie and the fantastic team at the Head Gardener Hair Salon in Inverness. Without them, it simply wouldn't be possible, so a massive thanks to them for all their support. If you like Lump, make sure you tell the team when you're next in the salon and they'll give you a free gift. Coming up in the next episode, I can cope with waiting rooms where the walls are dusty with dried tears. What I can't cope with is having to undress and present my poor, scarred, battered and unsightly form for inspection within those walls. Lump is written and presented by me, Pennie Latin-Stuart, and produced by Adventurous Audio. The series returns that's not afraid to talk about the really dark and difficult stuff.
I told each of them that their dad had taken his own life, that he was in a really, really dark, bad place and he couldn't see a way forward and he couldn't find his way back.
Stories of loss and grief.
There was this sense of being on the edge of an abyss almost, like, how am I ever going to function in the world again? Who am I? What's happening to me?
And stories of hope after hell.
Every morning that I wake up, I am grateful that I get to wake up, because for a long time I didn't want to. And now the whole thing has shifted on its head. I have more happiness and joy in my life because of me.
Honest, open and thought-provoking conversations about mental health.
A lot of people will be told that vulnerability makes you weaker. Trust me, it makes you stronger. 100%.
Speaking of Suicide, a series from Mikey's Line and Adventurous Audio. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.